Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. The beauty of Naruto and anime as a whole is there seems to be a million different ways to be strong. You can be fast, you can be strong, you can have the most chakra, the strongest ninjutsu, the strongest genjutsu, the best chakra control. And these millions of different possibilities make a bunch of very powerful ninja. Rock Lee and Mike Guy are considered some of the strongest ninjas in Konoha simply because they do 3,000 push-ups a day. While people like Hashirama are strong because of their healing factor and limitless chakra. But another thing about anime is as time progresses in an anime universe, the things that make you strong change. While in the early days of Naruto, being able to use 100 or so shadow clones was enough to defeat basically any enemy, as the timeline progressed, our main characters had to get stronger in order to defeat stronger enemies. So what happens when your enemies are no longer low-level jonin, but gods trying to destroy your earth? Well, that's when your jutsus have to step to a whole different gear. That's when you yourself have to acquire the jutsus of the gods in order to fight back. But what jutsus are we talking about? How do you acquire them and what do they do? Well, we're gonna cover all that and more in a second, but please guys, first, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And if you would like to hear me talk about animes that aren't Naruto, please go ahead and follow my other channel, The Weeb Commander, where I talk things like MHA, Bleach, Hunter x Hunter, One Piece, JJK, everything. Before we get into all that, guys, today we gotta talk about a brand new sponsor to the page, Squarespace. Squarespace is a one-stop shop for helping you build your brand. Whether that brand be clothing, custom stickers, or food, Squarespace can help you grow your business. Squarespace provides you the tools to build a beautiful website, a website that will both help you engage with your audience and sell your product. Well, what are some of these tools that Squarespace provides you? Squarespace provides the tool of member areas, where creators like myself can put content behind a paywall that only those who pay to be members can access, thus creating a different revenue stream for creators or anybody who wants to put any kind of content behind a gate. But since we're talking about content, Squarespace also has a video studio tool, a tool that allows you to make beautiful videos effortlessly. This studio editor allows you to make engaging and interesting videos for your audience. And you can see how much your audience is enjoying your brand by using the analytics that are built into Squarespace. These analytics not only offer insight into how your business and or brand is doing, they also offer you insights on how to better improve those things. You can learn where site visits and sales are coming from and how best to capitalize on those visits. So what are you guys waiting for? Go to squarespace.com today for a free trial. And when you're ready to start your Squarespace adventure, use the code squarespace.com/nchammer23 for 10% off your order. So what are you guys waiting for? Build that brand and maybe you'll be the person advertising for Squarespace next. So like it or not, anime universes get stronger as time progresses. Main characters get stronger to defeat stronger enemies, which usually results in them getting some kind of power up, a new move, a new ability, or just getting older. Now this isn't always the way that animes decide to go, but it is what usually happens in shonen anime. And Naruto is no exception. Naruto, a show that started with Naruto struggling to use the clone jutsu, ends with Naruto making a chakra mech out of Kurama to make tailed beast and shurikens to throw at a giant other chakra mech that Sasuke is piloting. But here's the thing, the Naruto universe is scaled even above said chakra mechs. Obviously the power-ups that were given to Naruto and Sasuke in the form of chakra and the 6-tome Rinnegan were enough to defeat the likes of Kaguya and Momoshiki. However, upon the appearance of Ishiki, we realized that even Naruto and Sasuke were outclassed, with Ishiki literally jumping through Sasuke's Susanoo and pulling him out of it, and basically doing the same thing to Naruto. And obviously we saw in the battle against Ishiki that Naruto activated a little thing called Baryon mode, a mode where he sacrificed Kurama's life in order to achieve a new kind of energy that allowed him to defeat Ishiki. But we're taking it one step even further beyond that, because today we are talking about the strongest technique in the Naruto universe at this current moment, the thing that has replaced Jinchuriki or chakra mechs, the Kama Seal. You see, the Kama Seal has become a common talking point in Boruto, but to this day, a lot of people still don't understand how it works. How do you receive it? What abilities does it give you? And how do you tap into said abilities? So let's start this video off answering an easy question. What is a Kama Seal? See, a Kama Seal is a bit like a save file. An otsutsuki leaves a compressed backup of their biological data on a recipient that is able to receive it, also known as a vessel or a compatible vessel. In a way, this Kama Seal works a bit like Orochimaru's curse marks. It leaves a consciousness, biological DNA, and chakra of an otsutsuki on an applicable vessel. However, the way that a Kama differentiates itself from a cursed seal is that it slowly spreads itself across the body. Now, obviously, a cursed seal takes more and more of its vessel over as time progresses, but a cursed seal only takes over a person's personality, making them more likely to obey Orochimaru. A kama seal overwrites the vessel's DNA, slowly but surely making the vessel into an otsutsuki. And once the vessel has become 100% otsutsuki, they are considered a perfect otsutsuki. Now, usually the completion of this otsutsufication doesn't happen until after the otsutsuki has been slain. So let's say I'm an otsutsuki and I place a karma marking on you. Usually you will not reach 100% otsutsufication until I die and transfer into your body, because that's the way it works. An otsutsuki, if slain, transfers to one of their vessels, and not until your otsutsufication has completed do I take over your body completely and am reborn as a perfect otsutsuki once again. So what happens in this awkward middle time when the otsutsuki has died but the vessel hasn't 100% otsutsufied? Well, the vessel gets to tap into the power of the otsutsuki. That is to say that the vessel can activate the kama to tap into the power of their otsutsuki host, though this is dangerous, because just like with having a tailed beast inside of you, if you take the kama activation too far, the soul of the otsutsuki inside of you can take control of your body, if only temporarily, but still to massive effect. Ask Sasuke's eye. But here's the thing, as I've explained it, it makes it sound like planting a karma seal on somebody is super easy and chill. It's not. Once again, the karma seal is very similar to cursed seals in that way. In fact, an otsutsuki actually planting a karma seal on somebody and it being successful rarely ever happens. And if you do get an incompatible seal, usually you suffer a fatal seizure and die, kind of like Orochimaru's 1 in 10 cursed mark rule. However, some people can survive not being compatible with the kama seal. And if you survive not being compatible with the kama seal, you awaken to a white kama seal. This is what Code has. A white kama seal is inherently different from a black kama seal. A white kama seal doesn't allow the otsutsuki who placed the kama seal on you to come back using you as a vessel. And thus, even though you have their powers and their chakra and you can communicate with them through a mental plane in a different dimension, that otsutsuki can never use you as a reincarnation vessel. But that doesn't mean that the white kama seal is not incredibly powerful, because it is. The white kama seal still otsutsufies the host, which gives the host tremendous power and even allows them down the line to turn into a completely new, unique otsutsuki. Because think about it, the white kama seal is otsutsufying a body, but there's no soul to take over said vessel's body. And thus that vessel would simply just become an otsutsuki with nobody to take them over. And thus just brand new otsutsuki. The only real drawback of the white kama seal is it doesn't have absorption powers. What do I mean by that? Well, this is a great segue to talking about the kama seal's powers. A kama seal, much like being a Jinchuriki, naturally boosts your power, your ability, your dexterity, and the power of your jutsus. But it's not even the most important ability that a kama seal confers. You see, a kama seal, specifically a black kama seal, confers the ability to absorb chakra and chakra-based attacks. So things like ninjutsu are useless to those with a kama seal. Fire whatever you want at somebody with a kama seal, they can simply absorb it. And since ototsukis are resistant to genjutsu, genjutsu is also usually useless against those with kama seals. On top of all of that, kama seals confer you the ability to use space-time ninjutsu, allowing you to create rifts that allow you to travel between different dimensions. We've seen Jigen do this on his own, and Boruto and Kawaki collaborate to create rifts to travel through dimensions to find Jigen. But if all of that wasn't enough, the kama also allows the user to tap into the battle experience of the otsutsuki who placed it on them. That is to say, let's say I've never been in a fight before, but some otsutsuki gives me a kama seal. If I properly tap into my kama seal, I will gain all of the battle experience of the otsutsuki who gave this to me. And thus I'll have the fighting ability of somebody who's been fighting for thousands of years. But kama seals also react to each other in a little thing called resonance. Essentially, if two kama seals from different people get close to each other, they exhibit a thing called resonance. In Boruto and Kawaki's situation, if their kama seals get close to each other, they're able to fire off anything they absorbed, like ninjutsu or chakra or anything. And this is eerily reminiscent of Momoshiki's hand Rinnegan abilities, where he could absorb ninjutsu with one hand and fire it off stronger with the other. On top of that, the resonance is what allowed Boruto and Kawaki to open a space-time rift. However, unfortunately for Boruto and Kawaki, the resonance also makes the kama grow faster, meaning that both Boruto and Kawaki were otsutsufied faster because their kama seals were resonating with each other. And because Boruto and Kawaki are so far otsutsufied, roughly around 80%, it's significantly easier for the otsutsuki inside them to take over their body, meaning that if either of them run out of chakra, more likely than not the otsutsuki inside of them will manifest. In this sense, the kama seal is very similar to being the Jinchuriki of Shukaku, in that when Shukaku was in Gaara, every time Gaara fell asleep, Shukaku would take it as an opportunity to take control of his body. The same could be said for Boruto and Kawaki, except it's whenever they run out of chakra or lose consciousness. But here's the thing, a vessel taking the full power of an otsutsuki without being 100% otsutsufied is really bad for the vessel. Think of it like this, it's like trying to put an F1 engine in a 90s Civic. It might run for a little while, but eventually the wheels are gonna come off. This is why when Momoshiki took over Boruto's body in the fight against Boro, he had to absorb some of Naruto's chakra. And after depleting Naruto's chakra, Boruto collapsed. The same could be said for Jigen, who was trying to use Ishiki's power in an imperfect vessel, which is why Jigen's body began to break down. But what if the vessel is no longer imperfect and the Kama Seal gets to 100% otsutsufication? Well, then we get resurrection. And it's at this point that the otsutsuki takes over the vessel's body and completely erases their personality. Essentially, the vessel dies. But even if the Karma Seal doesn't reach 100% otsutsufication or the vessel dies, the body, as long as it still bears a Kama Seal, can be used for resurrection. That is to say, it doesn't necessarily have to be the perfect situation for an otsutsuki to be resurrected through a vessel. That's sub-ideal for otsutsukis though, because they come back weaker, or some come back with timelines of how long they're gonna be alive. This is essentially what happened with Ishiki, who used Jigen's body to resurrect himself. However, Jigen didn't have a full compatibility with Ishiki, and thus Jigen could only survive in this resurrected body for a couple of days. But despite the fact that it was an incomplete resurrection, Ishiki came back with all of his memories, abilities, and strengths. But what's really messed up is that the otsutsuki, after resurrecting, also gets the skills, knowledge, and strengths of their vessel. So every vessel that an otsutsuki use, they can acquire new knowledge and strengths from said vessel. Let's say you get a Kama Seal and you don't want the Kama Seal. Understandable, you don't want to get your personality erased by a god. Unfortunately, there is quite literally no way to take a Kama Seal off you. You can't just cut off the hand. What's crazy is that the otsutsukis who place the Kama Seals also can't control them. That is to say that an otsutsuki who dies is automatically transferred to whatever Kama Seal they have. They have no say over the matter. If an otsutsuki wants to die and has a Kama Seal somewhere out in the universe, well, they'll just get reincarnated into said Kama Seal. They have no will over the process. The true only way to get rid of a Kama Seal is if there is multiple Kama Seals to the otsutsuki who placed yours. And if that otsutsuki resurrects in one of those other Kama Seals, well then, yours disappears. This is what we saw when Ishiki used Jigen's Kama Seal to resurrect himself into a weakened body. Because Kawaki wasn't chosen for the resurrection, his Kama Seal disappeared. Why does this happen though? Well, Amado speculates that it's in order to stop multiple resurrections. That is to say, so your soul doesn't get split into two separate people and you come back twice. Small problem though. Even if your Kama Seal does disappear, however otsutsufied you were, that stays. So if you were 99% otsutsuki, but your Kama Seal disappeared, you're still gonna be 99% otsutsuki. Also, white Kama Seals don't disappear even if there is a complete resurrection. Meaning that if you receive a white Kama Seal, well, that's there forever. But here's the thing, if you lose your Kama Seal, it doesn't matter how otsutsufied you are, you don't have access to your otsutsuki powers anymore. Which is why Kawaki actually wants to get his Kama Seal back. Because if he received his Kama Seal again, he would get access to the otsutsuki abilities that he's lost. And he wouldn't have to worry about Ishiki taking over his body because Ishiki's soul is gone. But another cool thing about the Kama Seal is that it does otsutsufy you. So Kawaki has a theory, since him and Boruto are over 80% otsutsufied and therefore basically just full-bred otsutsukis at this point, that they should be able to leave their own Kama Seals, which Boruto could use to survive Momoshiki taking over his original body, which has technically almost happened in the manga. You see, in Boruto's fight against Code, his Kama Seal was 82% extracted. But in this fight, Boruto gets donut holed real hard. But here's the thing, the only Kama Seal that Momoshiki has is Boruto. And thus, if Boruto dies, so does Momoshiki. Therefore, Momoshiki converted the last 18% of Boruto's soul into Otsutsuki, effectively making Boruto 100% Otsutsuki. The only problem is this was a sacrifice by Momoshiki, implying that Momoshiki would never be able to resurrect through Boruto. And this is a drawback of the Kama Seal, and also why Orochimaru spread as many curse marks as he could across as many bodies as possible, because he didn't want to be limited to just one. But that's the problem with the Kama Seal. It's very hard to plant. Only about 1 in 15 people survived the process. We know this because Ishiki planted 15 Kama Seals and Kawaki was the only person who survived. Well, with the black Kama Seal, obviously Code survived with the white one. But also, implanting a Kama Seal requires a massive amount of energy to do. When Ishiki was bisected by Kaguya and slunk on into Jigen's ear, he didn't have enough energy to place a Kama Seal on Jigen. Well, actually, I apologize. The 1 in 15 thing is kind of weird. So obviously, when Momoshiki planted a Kama Seal on Boruto, it worked, right? And and when Ishiki finally had the energy to put the karma seal on Jigen, it worked. The 1 in 15 rule might be applicable to karma seals as a whole, or based on the facts that Ishiki was trying to plant karma seals through a vessel in Jigen, and thus him and Amado had to splice a little science into it, and that's what caused all the deaths. Which would go to imply that without Jigen as a middleman, that Ishiki could place karma seals on basically whoever he wanted. The true issue with placing karma seals on people is compatibility. If the vessel isn't compatible, they may be able to receive the karma marking, but if the Otsutsuki choose to revive using said vessel, they will die in a couple of days, like with Jigen and Ishiki. But what if you receive the karma seal and you really don't want to become 100% Otsutsufied and then delete it? Well, Amado made a drug that he originally used to weaken Ishiki. The drug was meant to weaken Ishiki by weakening his Byakugan. Since all Otsutsukis have a Byakugan to start with and Ishiki had one in his right eye, this would have been a relatively good way to nerf him. However, after Ishiki's death, Amado repurposed the medicine to slowing down Momoshiki taking over Boruto's body, hoping that weakening Momoshiki's Byakugan will slow down how quickly the karma seal takes over Boruto's body. And that is it, kind of. I mean, I could go deeper into spoiler territory and talk about exactly what's going on with the karma seal right now in Boruto, but I already touched on a couple of spoilers in this video and I don't feel great about that. But let's be real, there's no reason to be watching Boruto right now. You should be reading it. And if you guys liked my explanation of the karma seal, please tell me in the comments below. And while you're down there, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Listen, the Boruto manga is actually pretty good. It's just the anime that's bad.